up, guys? Seth here. Welcome back to Bachelor MMA. In this video, I'm doing a breakdown of Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Max Holloway for the undisputed 155 belt. Now, keep in mind, this was a fight that Tony Ferguson was supposed to fight. Unfortunately, he had a knee injury. He's going to have surgery. He pulled out. Max Holloway stepped in, 6 days notice. Stylistically, this is a very good matchup for Khabib because Max Holloway, Tony Ferguson, you know, they're pretty much identical. They're both high volume fighters. They both have great cardio. In terms of height, they're the same height. Tony Ferguson does have a significant reach advantage over Khabib. Unfortunately, Max Holloway does not have that reach. Let's just go ahead and compare Max Holloway with Tony Ferguson, right? I mean, they have similar records. As far as KO, TKA ratio, they are identical, almost 47% for Max, 44% for Tony. But you can see the difference in submission. Tony Ferguson at 36%. They're similar in height. They're identical in height, actually. But Tony Ferguson does have a longer reach. You take a look at the significant strikes. Again, they're both high volume punchers. Tony Ferguson lands about 5 punches per minute. Max Holloway lands about 6. They're both pretty accurate. Accuracy is the same. Defense is, again, the same. They absorb the same number of punches. As far as grappling, you can see that Tony Ferguson does average more takedowns. He's not as accurate as Max Holloway. And his takedown defense is not as good as Max Holloway, but he does attempt more submissions. And they're very similar fighters, but Max is the superior striker. Tony Ferguson is much better on the ground. You know, he's got very, very good scrambles. He's great off the bottom. Max Holloway got good scrambles too, but I don't think he's as fluid and as good, as threatening on the ground as Tony Ferguson, but he is much better on the feet. I think he's a much faster striker. I think he's a bigger puncher than Tony Ferguson. So I would actually like to see Tony Ferguson versus Max Holloway. That's the fight that I want to see because they're so identical. Khabib, this change of opponent is not really a change of opponent. You know, they are pretty similar. This might even be better because Max Holloway, I don't think, is as good off his back as Tony Ferguson. So Khabib might feel more comfortable taking him down and trying to beat him up there. But also on the other side, Max Holloway is more dangerous on the stand-up. If you see Max Holloway, again, primarily he's a stand-up fighter. He spends about 73% of the time striking, whereas Khabib, he spends about 62% of his time with his takedowns and spends 25% striking, but a lot of that striking is actually on the ground. So if you compare Max Holloway to Khabib Nurmagomedov, they are similar in height. Khabib actually has the longer reach. If you take a look at the significant strikes, again, Max Holloway obviously lands more shots per minute. As far as who's more accurate, Khabib is more accurate, 50%, but keep in mind, that number is because he takes his opponents down to the ground and he smashes them, right? He's smashing guys that are not able to move. So obviously he's going to be more accurate, but don't let that distract you from the fact that Max Holloway is, you know, pretty good accuracy. He's landing 43% of his shots on the feet, whereas Khabib is landing 50% of his shots on the ground. So there is a big difference. I would say that on the feet, Max Holloway for sure is the better, more accurate, precise striker. Khabib Nurmagomedov absorbs way, less punches because when he takes his opponents down to the ground, they can't punch back, right? They're just trying to defend their face from getting smashed. Now, take a look at the grappling. That's where the huge disadvantage comes from. Khabib is averaging 5 takedowns. Accuracy, he's got about 45%. He's got a pretty good takedown defense. They're actually identical in takedown defense. And as far as submission average, they're about the same. As far as Khabib goes, I mean, listen, he's got obviously dangerous ground and pound. Everyone keeps saying that Khabib just rushes in. He doesn't just rush in. If you watch his fights, right, he actually spends the first minute of the fight kind of gauging his opponent. He kind of feels him out, right? He doesn't just start rushing in and throwing that, uppercut or that flying knee. He kind of stays in the center of the ring and tries to gauge his opponent, tries to time him so he can set up that takedown. That's going to be key for Max, right? He has to strike first and he has to strike hard. He cannot let Khabib dictate the pace of the fight. Because if Khabib dictates the pace of the fight, Max is going to be in big trouble. So when in the beginning of the fight, when Khabib Nurmagomedov is kind of circling and throwing strikes and trying to stand up with Max, Max needs to go, right? He's taking this fight on short notice. He's an underdog. rightfully so, and he has to go in there and start firing right away because Khabib does not fight well backing away. Okay, a lot of fighters don't do that, and Khabib is no different. All right, if you back him away, Max is going to do pretty well. Khabib does not set up his shots. If he just goes for a takedown, he's going to have trouble taking Max down. If he sets his shots up, his transition from his punches to a shot is fast. It's beautiful, right? He's 1-2 shot. He's gonna get taken down. If he stuffs the takedown, Khabib's gonna push him against the fence and then take him down. Once he gets him down, again, his transitions from full guard to half guard to side control, mount, whatever the case might be, he is extremely good. He's extremely good at controlling either arm, left or right hand, and then smashing. And when he starts smashing people, he doesn't try to pass. He doesn't try to submit you. He keeps smashing you. So he doesn't give you an opportunity to breathe. He doesn't give you an opportunity to move. He just holds you right there and keeps punching you. You try to move, he's going to pull you right back and keep punching you. Just punish you. First round. Come out second round, going to punish you some more. Maybe go for the kill third round. Maybe go for the kill in the fourth round. So Max Holloway definitely likes to stand and bang. He's relentless in the stand-up, not really a takedown guy. He can't take you down and beat you up there. Cardio advantage, on paper, you have to give it to Max. But in this case, he's taking the fight on a short week, on a 6 days notice, and he's coming off an injured leg. So how good is his cardio? I think on paper, it's better than Khabib's, but in this case, you have to give it to Khabib because Khabib is at a full training camp. So he should be in peak condition. If Khabib takes the fight to the ground, he's going to be fine. He can get on top control and smash you. He can get on top control and just ride you out. He can do that for 3 rounds, and I'm sure he can do that for 5 rounds. If he keeps the fight standing up, he actually gets tired. If you remember that fight against Pat Healy, he spent most of the first and second round on the feet, but he actually got significantly slower from the first round to the second round. He showed signs of fatigue. And then in the third round, he took the guy down to the ground and you know, beat him up there. The reason why I'm saying this is because, you know, on the ground, that's what he does. He can do that all day. But on the feet, when he's throwing strikes, he gets tired. So overall, in his game plan, if Khabib is dictating the pace, if he's doing what he always does, he can do that for 5 rounds. Whereas Max Holloway, I think he has an overall better gas tank. But in this fight, again, on paper, you have to go with Max. Overall, if Max had a full training camp, I would give it to Max. But just because, based on this, I'm going to give the cardio advantage also to Khabib. Fight IQ, I think I'm going to give that to Khabib on this one. I think Khabib, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. He takes his opponents down to the ground. He smashes them. He doesn't try to go for the kill, right? He beats them up, beats them up, beats them up, and then goes for the kill. He doesn't rush. Whereas Max Holloway has done some things that are questionable, right? We all remember that Ricardo Lamas fight, a fight that he was winning, and in the last 30 seconds he decided to like point to the ground and start swinging. That's a dumb move, man, because he can get caught by Ricardo Lamas and lose the fight. So I think any coach would be upset at that, right? You're winning the fight, you have the fight won. Why risk it in the last 30 seconds? But you know, Max is an awesome fighter. He's a talented fighter. But as far as fight IQs, I'm either going to give it a draw or I'm going to give it to I'm going to give a slight nod to Khabib, and I'm going to give a slight nod to Khabib. My prediction for the fight, what to expect? I mean, we seen Nate Diaz come in on 2 weeks' notice and beat up Conor. That was a big surprise. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Khabib is going to win. You know, Max Holloway said that Khabib was going to beat Tony Ferguson, and most people agreed that Khabib was going to win that fight. I don't know about that, but I think in this case, this is Khabib's fight to lose, man. He should win this fight. I think he will win that fight. I think he's going to do what he does best. He's going to measure. He's going to see what Max can do on the stand-up. I think at that point, Max will try to land his shots, but eventually Khabib will get the takedown, keep him on the ground, beat him up on ground, majority of round number 1, let's say 2-3 minutes. Second round, again, Max is going to have some shots on the stand-up. He's going to land some shots, but eventually he's going to get taken down. He's going to get beat up on the ground. Third round, the takedown is going to come easier. And I think either late third round or early fourth round, Khabib will either get a ground and pound stoppage or a submission victory over Max Holloway, and he will become the new UFC lightweight champion. And that's my prediction. All right, guys, so thank you for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Who's going to win this fight? Do you think Max Holloway will make history and become the second fighter to hold 2 belts at the same time? Or do you think Khabib is going to extend his winning streak to 26-0? Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and stay tuned for next video.